Hi, first things first, doing a service. Put the car on the ramp. As you can see, checking the pads and everything is in the right place on the actual ramp itself. Okay, again, give it a little wobble to make sure everything is in good order and it's safe to work on. First thing we're going to do is open the bonnet. As you can see here, bonnet open. We're going to remove the oil filler cap, which is this bad boy here. Okay, take that off, put it on battery nice and safe. Just take out the oil dipstick and just a quick once over. Obviously, engine's warm, ready to drain the oil out, so I won't touch the antifreeze level just yet because it's going to be hot and under pressure. I don't want it going off and making a mess, exploding in the workshop. Okay, Hi. Now we're underneath the car now, so what we need to do before we start looking at anything else, the best thing in my opinion would be to drain the oil. Okay, so this is the sump plug. Where are we? Just about here. Sorry guys. So sump plug is just here. Okay, so Torx bit, obviously you need to make sure these usually go a little bit tighter because they've been obviously done up for about 10,000 miles. Okay, and then we need to locate the oil filler. In this case, this is an Astra, so we can see just up there there's a little white speck there, just here where my hand is. Okay, obviously the engine is hot, so be careful. The engine is hot, the oil's hot, you can burn yourself, so make sure you've got the correct PP on, okay, to do the job. Okay, obviously what we then need to do is make sure we've got an oil drain tray. Okay, and then that's to catch the oil in to make sure we're working nice and safely. So what we don't want to do is make a mess on the floor. Okay, so we've got the oil draining now. As you can see just in the background here, the oil is literally coming out of the sump bung. We've slackened off the oil filter as well, so we've got a little bit of leakage down there. You do need to make sure that you're careful because obviously it does make a few little splats in and around on the floor. Okay, so obviously that's part of your health and safety, and obviously you have to clean up after yourself when you're done. Okay, so it's now time to change the oil filters. As you can see, here's the old filter, one here. Obviously this is a Mahal, okay, German make, okay, and obviously part number there. Obviously my replacement filter is a Bosch one, so what we're really looking for is to make sure that they are the same, although they're very different. Okay, but what we're really looking for here, guys, is the internal diameter of the thread compared to this one here. Okay, and the actual oil seal here. We can see the oil seal on this one. It's obviously quite badly damaged, just old and worn, really, old oily. So what the best way of doing this is just literally putting them on top of each other. You've got a brand new fresh filter, okay, and what we've actually got there, so we can put them on top of each other. You can see that that made contact. Take it off and we can just look to see that there is actually a good contact, and you can see basically where the oil sits. Yeah, see it glistening there. That is really where so it's the same size. That's a nice and easy way of doing it. Now the other check you can do for this one is literally little finger in there, and it goes into your knuckle sort of thing. Okay, not the best way. It's a nice easy cheat. Yeah, you can kind of feel that doesn't go any further than that, and that one's exactly the same. Obviously the professional way of doing it is obviously to get your vernier calipers, do internal measurements in there, but just trying to give you a few little cheats. But vernier, if you're not sure, obviously vernier caliper every time. Okay, so we've got the new oil filter. What we now need to do is put this bad boy up. What I've done is I've lubricated the seal so it slips on there nice, makes a nice tight seal, so that it doesn't leak. That's the main thing. Now what we want to do, I've given it a little wipe up there as well. So I'm going to just, I don't know how much you can see, but just literally going to spin this oil filter on. Okay, get it started by hand. Okay, and then we literally just tighten, and we do it hand tight, guys. There's no reason to do it too tight. Yeah, it's hand tight, and then just a little bit, just to make sure it's got a good seal. Then, as you can see there at the bottom of the engine there, where I've drained the oil, we've got a lot of mess there. So obviously I need to get a rag and tidy that all up to make sure it's okay. And then what I'll do next is go through a little service check to show you what you need to do on the underside. Okay, so we're back underneath the car now. So what I'm just going to run through with you is the correct, or a procedure, in my opinion, the correct procedure for checking the underside of the vehicle. You need to basically find a starting point. Your starting point for me is usually under the driver's side, just behind the front wheel. Okay, so literally, so this is our kind of view, this is what we're sort of looking at, okay, in this area. Obviously you need your eyes, good torch, just to basically light up the area. Okay, so what we're going to do now, guys, I'm just going to run you through. So I've got a light here, and just literally what we're looking for is we're looking for corrosion, any corrosion in and around the actual vehicle body itself. Okay, and we're looking for suspension around the actual bushes. Okay, the quality and condition of the lower wishbone, or the suspension arm. Okay, we've got the track rod end here. This is this component here, part of your steering. Okay, then we've got our anti-roll bar, which is this. This is our link arm here. Just this one here. It's got a ball joint at the top and a ball joint at the bottom. That's connected to our anti-roll bar, which goes all the way over to the other side of the car, which we'll check that side next. This is the CV boot, guys, constant velocity joint. Okay, so we need to turn the wheel right the way round. Yeah, again, it's all about finding the starting point. So what I'd normally do is literally just use this clip. Yeah, you can see where the clip starts, so you can turn it around. You can turn this on full lock. Yeah, that's usually the best way to do it. So if I just put it on full lock there, guys, for you, and you can actually see what's going on there. Okay, well, we can see, yeah, that the boot is in relatively good condition. What we're looking for is splits and tears. Okay, and just making sure you can obviously give it a little squeeze as well to make sure that it's not insecure, because obviously that would be an MOT failure. Okay, then we've got our actual brake hose. Okay, so again, we're looking for the condition of that brake hose. We've got ABS wires that are up there as well. We've got the wheel. We're looking for the condition of the disc there. Okay, you can see there that disc is a little bit corroded. Okay, I would say that's probably okay for an MOT, but it would be an advisory for my service. Okay, again, we're looking at the tyre. Yeah, the whole of the inside of the tyre, and then we're going to move around to the front of the car. So there we've got the horns on this Astra here. Okay, we're going to obviously just check the condition and make sure the connections are there. I've obviously checked the horn beforehand. We can then go around, have a look at the actual the radiator. So underneath here, we can actually see up the top there for the radiator. You're looking for its condition. We're checking the condition, guys. We're making comparison against what would be a new item. Obviously, we've got to take into account how old the vehicle is. We're making a comparison against new. Obviously, older cars, they're going to have more faults, so you do need to look very, very carefully. Up there, we've got the auxiliary belt. Okay, I know this was changed relatively recently, but we can actually get up there and actually get our hands on it, give it a little pull. This hasn't got an automatic tensioner on it, so tension is usually pretty good, but we'll check the tensioner in a bit on that one. Okay, then we can have a look around the car. We've got our little oil leak from earlier. Okay, I've cleaned that up as best I can at the moment. I'll clean that up with a bit of a steam clean later. On the sump there, guys, we've got a small weep from the actual sump gasket. A weep is a small leak. Okay, if it's leaking badly, it will cause a drip. The customer will complain about it because they'll say my drive's getting oily, I'm losing a lot of oil. So these are the things that you'll need to look at. Okay, then we come over onto here. We've got the gearbox. That component there, guys, is the reverse light switch. Okay, which makes contact with the actual reverse gear in, or selector in the gearbox. Okay, again, check the lights so we know they're in good working order. Okay, moving around here, back to the chassis again. We're looking for corrosion, impact damage, any issues. Yeah, so we're just giving it a good once over, and then obviously we're back to the wheel on the other side. I'm not going to go through that with you again. We do the same checks. Yeah, we're going to check the tyre, we're going to check the CV boot, we're going to check the track rod, the steering rack boot, the discs, the pads. Okay, so the process is the same there, guys. Okay, so we're back. We've done the checks on the wheels. Okay, so this component here is the steering rack. I've had a little look. It's in good condition. There's no splits or tears. Best thing to do with that, guys, is turn it on a lock. Okay, check them when they're fully extended, when they're fully retracted. We're looking again for condition of them, making sure there's no leaks, no splits. Okay, the condition of the actual steering rack, making sure it's secure. We've got pipe work here because this is a power steering version, so we've got the pipes that goes into the actual steering rack themselves. So we're looking for any leaks across these pipes, any fractures. Okay, again, this where you need to check your power steering fluid level, and that will also give you indications of any faults and problems. So we're going to look at the back of the engine up here, guys. Sorry about that. So up the back of the engine, we've got the starter motor here. Okay, so we can now have a little look at the starter motor. That component just there with the bolt going through, that's a knock sensor, guys. Okay, so awkward to get to. If there was a problem with that, that would come up on a fault code on your engine. Okay, and then we've just literally looking around, we've got a hose there, so we're going to check for leaks, water leaks. If there's any water leaks, you might get an antifreeze stain. Yeah, so it'll either, depends what colour your antifreeze is, it will either be pink or blue, but there'll be some small amount. You can see just above that there, I don't know if you can see that there, guys, there is a little bit of pink. Yeah, so there is a slight coolant leak just there, just above that one. It's difficult to see, can't really get my light in there. There you go, guys. Yes, yeah, so it's a little bit pink there, so it's got a little bit of a weep there. Looks like it's dried up, it's not causing any problems at the moment, but these are the sort of things you should be looking for. Okay, then once we've done that, we've checked all around the subframe, we've checked our wishbone bushes, okay, our lower wishbone bushes, okay, the inner bushes. When we're down, I'll check the ball joints. Then when we get to underneath the car, we're literally just looking for good condition. We're looking for any components that are loose, the condition of the exhaust, okay, making sure that the rubbers here are in good condition, they're not split, it's actually supporting the exhaust. You can see that there. That's so we can give a little pull on the exhaust to make sure it's not going to fall down. Okay, then we're back to under the actual the structure. So we're looking for corrosion. Usually, guys, if it's corroded, you'll see it. It's rusty. It's a brown colour. We then just get our thumb and forefinger in there just to see whether we can make it crumble under finger pressure, and then we could use a corrosion assessment tool if required. Okay, and that's really for more MOT side of things. Looking up around the rear suspension here, okay, and then to the rear axle. Okay, again, we've got ABS lines here and brake hoses which are connected to the brake pipes here. See there's a small amount of corrosion there on that brake pipe itself. Nothing to worry about there. I will inspect that a little bit further. Okay, rear shock absorber. Again, we're looking for leaks, damage, any problems. The actual spring itself. Okay, so there we need to run our hands right the way around. We're looking for any problems on the shocker, or sorry, the spring and the shocker. Now, something I noticed here earlier. So if you look very closely here, guys, yeah, you can actually see broken spring there. Okay, so that needs replacing. That is dangerous, and that would fail an MOT. Okay, so that's something on our to-do list now. So that would go on the service report back to our customer, so we can tell the customer what the problem is, and then seek authorization if they want it done, and then obviously that would be at an additional cost. Okay, following on to the back of the car, we're continuing looking around for rust and corrosion. Okay, any problems? Yeah, there is corrosion here, guys. This is a tow bar. Okay, they do corrode. Again, if your customer is actively towing vehicles, then obviously you need to make sure you do real good close tests. Check the tightness of the nuts and bolts, the securing bolts which are here, okay. Speak to your customers. You could, if it's really badly corroded, you could just advise them that they could have it removed. Now, looking at the rear exhaust mounts again, okay, we can see there, this one's badly split. So that would be on our, to go on our service report. A little bit corrosion up in that back corner, but nothing major. Okay, back over to this side, yeah. Handbrake cables, brake hoses, again, rear spring, making sure it's in good condition. You can see there on this side, guys, this one's okay. There's no splits or cracks. Looks in pretty good condition there, so we can actually, try and get a better look there. So we can actually look down on the inside of the spring with this camera, okay. Back over to the brake hoses again. You can see there on this one, guys, this, because it's a rear axle vehicle, it comes from the brake pipe here, where there was a little bit of corrosion again. Brake pipes do suffer with that. Goes from there and then down onto the brake hose itself, okay, down through onto there, and then there's another one. Brake hoses are put there, guys, for flexibility, okay. This is to allow the axle to move around, okay. So now we're just literally looking at the rest of the underside. We got some fuel pipes here, okay. We need to check, make sure they're not leaking. Again, we've got a fuel filter up here. That is a serviceable item. That's something that needs to be changed on the service, okay. Again, looking at the condition of the underside of the vehicle, again looking for corrosion. Again, on these brake pipes, guys, we're making sure they're in good condition. They are not loose or insecure. We've got brake pipes there alongside. So the blue ones are fuel pipes. The ones that run alongside are the front to rear brake lines, okay, so they go all the way to the front of the car. They join here in this case, on this particular vehicle, but sometimes they go all the way up and just connect straight to the master cylinder, okay. So this car's not looking too bad. Hopefully you'll agree with me. It's okay. There's a few little problems, a little bit of rust and corrosion. Main issue we've got there is the actual rear spring, which is, again, just to remind you, broken spring that's going to look something like this. Okay, so this tool here is a tyre tread depth gauge, okay. It precisely reads the correct measurements of your tyres. As I was saying earlier with your tyres, guys, what we're really looking at is, if we spin this round, we can look at the make of tyre. The make of tyre is not really the most important thing, okay. It's down to the customer what they have on. The most important thing to look at is the actual tyre size. So we've got 195, 60, 15, and this one here is a V-rated tyre, okay. So the 195 is the diameter from here to here. So 195 is the width, the pattern of the tyre. So from this side to here is 195 millimeters. Okay, then we've got the 60. The 60 is the sidewall of the tyre. Okay, it's also known as the profile. Okay, which is a percentage of the actual tyre tread. So 195, and then we've got the R15. The R15 stands for the size of the actual wheel rim. So in this case, this is a 15-inch wheel. Okay. And then we've got V, which is the speed rating. The 88, guys, is a load rating, so it tells you how much weight that can actually carry on each axle. So what I'm just going to quickly show you here, guys, is this tool. So best way of doing this is, I've already checked it to calibrate, which I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so we put this on here, we pull it down, we don't touch it, and then what we're going to try and do, hopefully this will come in. Sorry about this, guys. There we go. So it's around about 6 mil there. Okay, so in the middle of the tyre it's 6 mil. I will now measure the outer side of the tyre. So again, doing the same thing, we're pushing it down into. I'll let that phase in. Okay, and we got 6 mil again. So I'm going to move over to this side here, and then we're going to push it down once again, taking it out very slowly and very carefully. And then we're going to scroll it round until we can see there. So it's about 6 mil again there. So this is quite a good tyre, guys. It's on approximately 6 millimeters, which is good. The legal limit is 1.6 mil across the centre 3/4. So if I just do that, so we're sort of talking in between my fingers there roughly. It's really difficult. I'm on my own with the camera. But in between here, those two fingers, that is the center 3/4. Now that needs to be around the entire circumference of the wheel. Okay, so all of the tyre surface. And the best way of checking this, guys, I know I mentioned this to you earlier, find a tyre valve. So as we turn around, we slowly turn it round. I've got my hand here where the tyre valve is. So as I turn it round, it's another little cheat for you. As you slowly turn it round, you're inspecting the tyre, looking for any problems, yeah? Don't go too quickly. You can see there, it's had a puncture repair at some point. Okay, so we can check the tyre pressures to make sure it's holding. Then we turn it round, yeah? And that is just a little piece of glass there, which has come out just in the tread itself. So stones in the tread, you can obviously take them out. There's another little stone there, probably isn't causing any problems. Okay, another one just there, so we can just hook that with our fingers. Okay, and then we come around. We've been right the way around the tyre there, so my hand is back here onto the actual tyre valve. So this means that I know that I've checked the whole tyre, okay, and it's in good condition. Okay, so we can then obviously look, oh, and sorry, there you go, say good condition. I've just noticed, yeah, just here, guys, there was actually looks like a nail in there. So knowledge and experience tells me that's probably got a puncture. Okay, so I will check that later on and then probably do a puncture repair on the tyre itself. Okay guys, so I'm just going to talk you through what we got here with the brakes. So on here, this part here is the actual piston. Okay, so when you put your foot down on the brake, this is the part of the caliper that actually pushes out onto the actual brake pad, which is this part here. This is the metal side of the brake pad, okay, and this part here, which I'm just going to try and show you, yeah, is actually this part in between there and the disc. Now I'm going to slowly rotate the disc so you can actually see which is which. So that's the actual disc moving there. So the bit next to it is the actual pad itself, the friction lining. Okay, so that friction lining, the legal limit for this, guys, is 1 millimeter. Yeah, it's pretty low. But what I would always recommend if you're doing a service, if that is anywhere near 2.5 to 3 mil, you should really be advising yourself or your customers that those need replacing, because once they're on 3 mil, 2 mil, the 2 mil that's left really won't take long to go. Yeah, it depends on how heavy you are on your brakes. So that's the inner pad. Now if we come around this side, yeah, we can see the disc, and then we can see the outer pad, which is a little bit difficult to light up. There you go. So that's the actual friction lining of the pad there. So you've got the metal part of the pad. Okay, so we've got this part here, where the screwdriver is actually, now I'm going to scrape that off so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, get my light back in there so you can actually properly see it. So you can see right in there, guys, yeah, that is, so I would say that there is about 6 to 7 mil on there. Okay, so those pads are good. If we actually come back out, what we're looking for on the actual caliper itself is that the retaining clips are in their correct place, and that literally holds the caliper on so that when you're braking it doesn't rattle about at all. Okay, then we're looking at the actual discs. The discs on the outside are actually pretty good. They've got a small amount of rust lip on there, but we could clean that up just to give them a little bit of extra life. But that's good practice. You don't have to do that, and we're literally looking for any scoring, any damage. If it looks like an old record, then we really need to be thinking about changing it. Also, we can get a digital micrometer in here and actually check against manufacturer's recommendations, yeah, to make sure the discs aren't too thin. Once they get below the manufacturer's specifications, they will need replacing because they won't be effective because of the so we got the rear brakes here, guys, yeah, so a little bit different to the front ones. Still disc brake assembly, okay. We've actually got a handbrake cable incorporated on this one here, so we can get someone in the car to actually work the handbrake on and off to make sure it's working correctly, coming on and coming off. Now if we look inside here again, guys, see the rusty bit in the middle there? Get that light right. Yeah, that's the actual disc. difficult to light. Okay, oh, that makes it a bit better. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, so we can see the disc, the pad there, the disc in the middle. So we got good brakes on the rear as well. If you look very closely, the actual brake manufacturer there is Lucas. Okay, quite a popular brand still. Okay, and then we look down the inside, we can still see in there, and there we've got our brake pad there again. Okay, so we can see that there's good pads in the rear of the vehicle, so they don't need replacing. Again, the discs are a little bit corroded, but again, nothing too detrimental to cause or warrant replacement. There is a little bit of wear on there, so again, would recommend that you actually do get your vernier calipers out, so digital micrometers, to make sure that they are not below minimum recommendations from the manufacturer. Hi, okay, so we're now doing the spark plugs, guys. So I've just to go back to old school, we've got a little video or a little bit here about what your plugs should look like and what they're telling you. So this top one here is normal, grey brown deposits, yeah, heavy deposits, okay, crusty deposits, often caused by valve guides, excessive use of cylinder lubricant and idling for long periods, okay. So these are obviously lots of problems. To be perfectly honest with you guys, unless your engine's really not running very well at all, okay, you shouldn't be seeing these sort of things. Most times with the way engines are running now, the quality we've got of fuel, you should be looking at something that looks like this. This is out of an old school Haynes manual, okay, which obviously are still available. Now this is the plugs that I've taken out myself, so you can see there, if I hold it nice and still, we can see there. So in comparison, I would say they're pretty normal, okay. These are twin electrode plugs. You can get single electrodes, you can get triple electrodes, and you can get quadruple electrodes. To be honest with you guys, yeah, it's preference, yeah. Single electrode is good, twin electrode is better. You're not going to gain much in the way of horsepower by changing the amount of electrodes. It will give you a better spark, but twin electrode is always good and will make it efficient, okay. But whatever you do, guys, just make sure you go with the recommendation from your parts manufacturer, okay. They will give you the specific plugs for your vehicle. Don't put things in that are not right, okay. It can cause lots of problems, and you could end up with plugs looking like this if they're not working in the correct way, okay. So again, this is our plugs, okay. The ones that I'm putting in are NGKs, okay. They are BKR5EKs. The ones that have come out of the vehicle are again NGKs, and they BKR6EK, and they are the same plugs, guys. They are the 5EKs are just superseded from the 6EKs, okay. Okay then, guys, so with these twin electrode plugs, okay, there is no call to gap them, okay. If you've got a single electrode, you do need to use a set of feeler gauges and correctly gap them. Also, when you're fitting plugs, what you should really have is a socket with a rubber in, okay. Unfortunately, my socket with the rubber has gone missing, so the best way of doing this, guys, is to gently put them in. Now I'm obviously working one-handed here, so what the best thing to do is use a pair of these long nose pliers and literally just put them down into the hole so that they don't actually drop, because obviously if you drop them, they can obviously change the gaps, and then you might get a misfire, you might not get it firing properly, okay. So again, just slowly, gently put them down into the holes, okay. Sorry about the shaky camera work, guys, because it's obviously just me on my own in the workshop. Okay, so once you've got them all in place, now you could put a little bit of copper slip on. It's usually good to do that. You don't have to. We're not going to tighten them up too much. Okay, with our socket, we literally just put that down into the plug hole, okay, and then screw it down by hand first. Don't put a ratchet on it. You don't want to cause any damage to the actual threads of the threads of the plug or the actual plug hole, okay. You're going to do that right the way across on all 4 cylinders. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can then use a torque wrench. And the torque wrench should be, obviously, settings for this one is around about 25 Newton meters, and with that we just make sure that we are doing it properly to the manufacturer's recommendations. The information you get for that is out of technical data books, auto data, Haynes manuals. So as you can see, I've got my torque wrench here. It's not great, but you can see there it's set to, when it's focused in, 25 Newton meters. There's a bit of light reflects on this one. So once you've got that on there, guys, pop that on, and literally all we're listening for is the click. And if you heard that, that's your click. That's all you get. So that plug is now done up to 25 Newton meters. We do the same to all 4 plugs, just to make sure they're not over tightened. And again, that's it. That's all you get. A little click. Torque wrench is telling you that it's tight enough. Don't go any further than that, because you could end up damaging the spark plugs, the engine block or the cylinder head, and then obviously it can cause yourself a lot more problems, which may lead to stripping the engine down. Yeah, and you really don't want to be doing that on a service, guys, trust me. Okay, once we've done that, we can then literally just, this is our coil pack here. Okay, we've got all 4 plugs that it connects to. Okay, this presses down, we put our electrical connector onto the actual coil pack itself, and then we put the retaining bolts in, tighten those up, and then we're ready to go. Okay guys, it's me again. Just to show you, this is the old air filter. Okay, as you can see, it's quite dirty. This will affect obviously your running. Not that it's going to cause any real major problems, yeah, but we want good airflow into our engine. The air we give our engine gives us better performance. It makes our engine work better, you know. So realistically, I've changed the engine oil and filter, we've changed the plugs, we've done the fuel filter, and so do the air filter as well. It may only be, you know, a little bit blocked, but that little bit of blockage will lose you some horsepower. It's not going to be loads, guys. Excuse me, it's not going to be loads, but it is really important that you do, you change it when you're giving it a service. So it's a full service. So again, all you're doing, guys, again, we've got a Bosch filter here, a male filter. So all we're really doing is just checking the actual size. Okay, so obviously better to do it on a flat thing. I've checked it already, but as long as it's the right size, it fits in the air box, it pops in. Okay, so to put it in the actual air box, again, it's really difficult to obviously do this with one hand, but I will try. Okay, so you're getting a bird's eye view there, guys. Okay, so it literally just pops in, and obviously make sure you don't damage it, so it fits in there nice and snug. Okay, so you can see there. Okay, so it fits in, make sure it's nice and snug and down, and then we literally just pop the top of the airbox back in and into place. Once we've got that there is a couple of clips. So there's one there, one here, one over this side there, and finally this one on this side of the airbox here. Okay, so again, make sure that is all clipped in. Okay, check it, and then just check to make sure the clips are tight onto the air hose that goes down to the single point injection. Okay, so again, make sure you check all your connections, anything that might have fallen off, pop it back in so it's in place. Okay, so everything is all good to go. Okay, yeah, so that's your air filter replaced. Old one, go in the bin, go in the box, yeah, and that's that. Okay, so now it's time to obviously refill our engine. Okay, the actual engine takes around about 4 litres of oil. So on the side of the can here we got a little marker. So that's our 1 litre, 2 litre, 3 litre, 4 litre, and then just on the top there you can see that would be our 5 litres. Okay, so when we fill it up, obviously, just to obviously explain in real simple terms, when we have what we should have left is this much in the bottom for 1 litre, because it takes 4 litres. Okay, that's real simple. Yeah, but what I would recommend that you put 3.5 litres of oil in, and then just so you don't overfill it, guys. Okay, and again, just using a funnel. Okay, and then literally filling the oil up. Okay, again, I would recommend that you always use a funnel, because obviously otherwise you make a lot of mess. Okay, engine takes a little while to breathe and the oil to go down, so always good to make sure you've got your dipstick out. That helps it flow and the actual oil go in a little bit quicker. Okay, before you do this, you also need to make sure that you've checked that your oil filter's tight and your sump bungs tight as well. So as you can see there, we've used 2 litres so far. So we've now used 2.5 litres, so we're getting there. It takes a little while for the oil to go in, but don't rush it, guys, because if you rush you make a mess and then it just causes you problems. You just got to tidy up after yourself. Okay, so another 1/2 litre, which should be around about there, touch more. So as we were saying there, guys, so quite literally, so probably a little bit more, so we've got that in there, about there. Okay, so we're just over 3.5 litres, okay, and I'll explain that in a moment. So if we just take the funnel out, making sure we don't leak it everywhere, pop that in the top there, make it nice and simple, put your lid back on. Okay, pop your dipstick back in, and then round to the inside of the vehicle. Okay, so what we're looking for here, guys, is, as you can see there, I'll get a bit closer, we have got the red light on the right hand side is our oil light. We're going to start the car now, so when we start the car, that light should go out almost instantly, 1 to 2 seconds. 1, 2, about 3 to 4, 2-3 seconds. Okay, leave it running for just a few moments. You can see the idle there is just over 1,000. Obviously started on the button, so things are going, there's no going well, there's no funny noises, which would also be an indication. We'll come back out, just leave it running for a few moments. Again, quite quiet. Back underneath the car, just a little visual check, just to make sure there's no leaks from the oil where you've just put it in. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll show you the level in a moment. Okay guys, so obviously just checking the level, so I'm going to pull the dipstick out so you can see, and hopefully it will settle. So you can see there it's actually wet. It all looks wet, but it's actually only on the 3rd. Put that there so we can see. Okay, it's actually on the 3rd notch. It's quite difficult to see in this light, but you'd have to take my word for it there, but it's on 3. We've literally got this much left oil, so we're just over 1.5 litres. So this actual engine takes about 4 litres, so I'm going to keep topping it up until we've obviously got all 4 in, which we're pretty much there. I'm going to go just a touch over. There you go. So we've got that there. It will take about a few seconds to actually get the oil to go all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, because it's got to go through all the components, or not all of them, but it takes a little while to travel down to the bottom of the sump. So put this back in, pull it back out, and now we can see, yeah, it's almost there now. So I'm going to wipe that off just to make it a little clearer. Okay, and then pop it back in again, And let's just try and get it first time this time. Okay, so yeah, it's almost there. It's not quite on the top one just yet, so touch more oil and then we'll be there. So again, using your funnel to top up with. Okay, a few moments. Again, it's always about wiping the dipstick. Yeah, wipe the dipstick, wipe the dipstick, wipe the dipstick. Get it nice and clean so we can see there it's nice and dry as our comparison. Dipstick in, 1, 2, 3, and then take it back out again, and then hopefully you should be able to see that there. That it is right on the top mark now. Okay. So we've got the antifreeze to test now. So put the antifreeze tester in, squeeze the tester itself, that will suck the antifreeze up inside it. And this tester, the way it works is however many are floating is the amount of protection you have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floating there. So if we actually look on the scale there, and that is protected up to -46 degrees centigrade, so that is way over the top if anything, because obviously we don't get it that cold, so that is quite strong. Okay, antifreeze should really be replaced every 2 years, okay, just to make sure that it's doing its job properly. Then what we can do, just to literally just top it up, and we just top it up with a little bit of water, which will dilute it down slightly. So, and there we go, we're back up to where it should be on that mark there. Okay, now the other thing we do have to do is we've got some screen wash. Here's some screen wash that I've got here. Okay, so literally we just top this up. I'll try not to spill it. Okay, so you only want a small amount in there. Okay, not much at all because it's very strong unless you're buying stuff that's not that good quality. Okay, and then we just literally top that up until it comes to the top. Spills over a little bit, it's okay. A little bit of spillage, yeah, it is predominantly water. Screen wash goes over your paintwork when you work your washers, so it won't actually do any damage. Okay, but best to give it a little bit of a flush off. Then you can put the lids back on to show, yeah, and this is the symbol for the washers, and then we've got the antifreeze or the expansion tank lid going on there. Okay, so that's those levels. So we've now done the antifreeze, we've done the screen wash, battery. I don't know whether you can see down there, but the light is green. Okay, this is a certain type of battery that if that shows green, that means it's good. Okay, black means it needs a recharge, and red means it is faulty. Okay, we've done our, obviously, oil dipstick, topped up the oil in the oil filler cap. Now coming around here, there's one thing I haven't mentioned, and this little fella here is the brake fluid. Okay, so what we can do is we can take the lid off, because it's quite difficult to see. Now this brake fluid can damage the paintwork, so you do need to be especially careful. Okay, so if I just pop the camera there, you can see it in the top. Okay, the maximum is there, so I'm going to just very gently just give it a little shake, so you should be able to see it move, and you can see the level. Yeah, so that is actually on the maximum. Now that will change as your brake pads wear. Okay, the level will go down, so when you have to replace your brake pads, when you change your brakes, yeah, the level will go back up. Again, brake fluid should be the recommendation is every 2 to 3 years, but if you're not sure, check with your manufacturer and auto data, Haynes manuals, whatever information you can find. Okay, so just a quick little video now on again, torque wrench and tightening the wheels up. Okay, they've been nipped up. Now I don't know if you can see, and that focusing, that's actually, the torque wrench is set to 110 Newton meters. That's what the manufacturer's setting it is for this particular vehicle. Okay, so the torque wrench goes on, okay, and we're quite literally listening for a little click. So when we go to push it down, that's your torque wrench, yeah? You don't need to go any more than that. As soon as it clicks, it's tight. Okay, so you check it on all 5 wheel nuts. Okay, that's your wheel tight. Yeah, should be doing that every time. Torque wrench all your wheels. Yeah, make sure they don't come off. Okay, it is really, really important. You do that on, repeat that same process on all 4 wheels. Okay, so hopefully this little tutorial, I know there's quite a few videos, hopefully it's helped you out a little bit on some of your servicing techniques, and we'll be posting it to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to leave any comments, please do. Please be nice. I'm not really very good at these sort of videos. It's all new to me. If I get many views, I may well start to post more videos, and may actually employ someone to do the videoing for me. Just make it a little bit easier and make it a little bit less clunky. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. So please, yeah, again, leave your comments. Thank you very much.